Ms. McCrory, members of the board, faculty and staff, family and friends, and fellow graduates. Thank you for supporting our class through your attendance tonight. I'm not going to take long, but I do need to say a few things. I'd like to thank some people on behalf of the senior class. To our families, we thank you for loving and supporting us in all that we do and sending us to this Christian school. To Mr. Sexauer and the rest of the faculty and staff here at CCA, we thank you for providing us with this education and preparing us for success. Now to my classmates and friends, we finally made it. We've made many memories along the way and over the years. We will cherish them as we take the next steps in our lives. Thank you all again for supporting the class of 2019.
Mr. Sexauer, Mrs. McCrory, members of the board, faculty and staff, family and friends, and class of 2019. 11 years ago, I walked into the school for the first time. Back then, we were a little different than we are now. Being a teacher's kid, I was the first one in the classroom that first day of second grade. I sat alone for what seemed like 10 minutes before any other students arrived. I was so nervous. Being 7 years old, in a new school, and in a new state, everything was new, and new was scary. All of a sudden, another little girl walked in. She gave me a weird, dirty look, came over and said, "Are you new?" I slowly nodded my head yes. Then without even asking my name, she walked right over to her desk and never said another word to me that whole day. Back then, I thought I would never be friends with her. And as funny as that seems, she grew to be the only girl who stuck around since that second grade year, and who also became one of my closest friends. I love you, Aubrey. That day started my journey into what was an impactful adventure called school. Flash forward into our freshman year. We all thought we were so cool. We had lockers upstairs. We got our own, who we thought at the time would be our consistent homeroom teacher. However, the one thing I took away from our freshman year was that it seemed like every 5 minutes a different teacher would say, "This is what matters now. Your GPA starts here. No slacking off." Throughout the whole first semester, all the teachers and faculty seemed to say this to us. It might have just been the fact that we have a reputation for being a really talkative, somewhat out of control class, but we never saw it. Eventually, we stopped hearing that phrase, but personally, I think the teachers just gave up on that hope. Then sophomore year came, and I thought that year would never end. When you're a sophomore, people like to call you a sophomore-on, and maybe for our class that was suitable. But when you're a sophomore, you're in an unusual spot. You're not at the bottom like the freshmen, but you're also not an upperclassman. Sophomore year was a blur. We wanted to do anything and everything. We were still figuring out who we are, still worried about what we looked like at school and if everyone liked us or not. Then junior year hit and everything got hard. Harder classes, more work, more pressure. Younger kids started looking up to you. Coaches depended on us to be leaders and star players. We were expected to start figuring out what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives. But I think the best part of junior year was AP Literature. Funny thing about our teacher, my mom, Mrs. McCrory, and our fellow classmate, Zeke Brown, he could convince her into almost anything fun or even able to do less work. My favorite memory of that was convincing her to take us to Chuck E. Cheese after our AP exam. We learned a lot and had a ton of work, and I mean a ton. But when all was said and done, junior year was fun. And after we had suffered through our freshman, sophomore, and junior years, it was an all-rewarding senior year. We were the top class. Above all, we felt like we ruled the school. We had the best sponsor, Mr. Cole, who was the first homeroom teacher to stick around with us longer than a year. We love you, Mr. Cole. We were also able to go to lunch every Friday and not have to worry about another class getting upset about it because it was a senior privilege. It was our year, and it was truly a great year. Our boys' soccer team won sectionals. We successfully pulled off homecoming for the second year in a row, just like we did everything else in our class. Last minute. We had great games in all our sports, and to finish off, we had the best senior trip we could ever ask for, even if we did live across from a crazy lady. And now, here we are, class of 2019. It's graduation day. It's our time to hang up our hats and move on to our next great adventures. We have had the best of times and the worst of times, and have endured it all and grown so close to each other. I have no doubt each of us will do something great in the world. Just think, in our class alone, we have people who are the first to graduate in their family. We have future doctors, electricians, nurses, managers, business owners, teachers, basketball players, interpreters, missionaries, and more. and we couldn't have become those things without our education and the people who supported us through it. I would like to say thank you to my parents. Mom, Dad, you mean the world to me, and without you, I could never be up on this stage giving this speech. You helped morph me into who I am and set a godly example on how to live my life. To my siblings, if it weren't for each and every one of you, I would have never gotten good grades or learned how to discipline myself in studying, in music, or in art because I had to try and keep up with how amazing you guys are. Christina, John, Macy, Ashley, and Jason, I love you all, and thank you for helping me and being my #1 supporters along with our parents. To Mrs. Stevens, Jen Vonderheide, the Ernst, the Shoemakers, and the Caudills, thank you for taking me under your wing and treating me like another daughter. I couldn't have done it without you guys. I love you. And on behalf of the senior class, I would also like to thank all the teachers and faculty and staff, especially Mr. Holt. Thank you for teaching us and giving us an understanding of academics and of the Bible. We appreciate you all so much. Lastly, to my classmates, you guys are so special to me. Through the years, we have fought and disagreed, but we have also loved and grown so close. You all will do amazing things in this world, and I will miss you all so much. Winnie the Pooh says it best. How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. I've loved learning with you and making memories with you. I liked listening to Coach every year talk about the Cowboys. I liked winning basketball games and volleyball games and soccer games. I loved playing beach volleyball against Sherry Sexauer, having Alexis make us laugh every day with the new things she thought of, our hide-and-seek games at IUPUI, or basketball car rides with Coach Dion, sorry. All of these memories and so much more are what we all will remember and get to share through the rest of our lives. So thank you all for the memories. And especially to Zeke, Isaac, Josh, Aubrey, John, and Jared. Thanks for growing up with me. My childhood isn't complete without you in it. The only way I could think of to conclude this speech was with an excerpt from a book by Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who will decide where to go. You're off to great places. Today is our day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you.